What's going on, apes? Welcome back to the channel. We had a massive day today, closing up 3.72%, right at $15 per share as we are currently filming this video. So we did hit a high of $15.25 earlier in the day, but we're almost closing at those highs for the day. And as you guys can see from the S&P 500, it was just a rip, a fucking tear towards the end of the day. And this is a Friday. Obviously, hopefully not a surprise to you, but on Fridays, especially during weeks of high volatility or times of uncertainty, if you see a close at the highest point in the day on a Friday, that is a big sign heading into the next week, and we might actually start to see somewhat of an attitude shift towards being a little bit more positive about the overall situation instead of being negative. That's not to say the fear catalysts are gone. It's just beginning. Sorry to say that to most of you guys, but we need to go over exactly what is going on with AMC. The fact that hedge funds are buying so many shares, it is ridiculous. So we do have to take a look at that. We do have to talk about the next big catalyst for the markets coming February 10th as well. So if you guys get any value out of it, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, let me know your thoughts on next week and what do you think about the close today. Pretty incredible. And if you guys want access to all of those trades, check that out, link down below in the pinned comment. Go ahead, get yourself some free stock as well by signing up with Mumu in the description. So to start off this video, let's talk about the next big potential fear catalyst or a big positive catalyst, and that is going to be the next CPI data release. That is February 10th. That is the gauge of inflation. It stands for Consumer Price Index. And why this is so important, because the markets, you've seen very small reactions in the past based off the CPI because all eyes were on the Fed. Now, the Fed basically said that we may do more or less rate hike increases depending on how bad inflation is. And Fed Jerome Powell said that in his view, inflation is worse now than it was back in December. So if the inflation numbers start to go down, I think you're going to see the hedge funds rush for the door. I think you're going to see a lot of covering happen, and you're going to see all of these stocks that are down 60, 70, 80% in the past month to 2 months start to see a bounce, and AMC is included in that list. And I think some hedge funds are starting to take advantage of that, as we will get into in just 1 second. And this is all super surprising as well, because we did have some bad news today, and that's what initially made the markets sell off. As soon as we opened, we kind of gapped down a little bit, and this is the key inflation gauge rises 4.9% from a year ago, fastest gain since 1983. The core personal consumption expenditures price index, a closely watched inflation gauge at the Federal Reserve, rose 4.9% from a year ago in December. Initially, investors sold stock on this news, but it looks like they're kind of starting to price in a little bit less inflation. So that's going to be good. The Fed won't have to be as hawkish, and that's going to be the main key, but we don't have another Fed meeting until early March, so we do have a lot of time, and we're going to be in a weird state of limbo between positive sentiment and negative sentiment. So keep that in mind. The fear catalysts are not gone. Now let's move into the data around AMC, because this is very exciting. We can see that the Ortex data is giving us a 20.86% short interest of free float. This is the highest level we have been at since June. So I want to see if this continues to climb. It does not look like from the chart shorts covered their positions today at all. Now, we are looking at 107.05 million shares that are sold short. Cost to borrow numbers, I think, are just BS anyways. Cost to borrow max is at 2.32%. Share utilization 75.51%. Days to cover at 2.51. So the situation here looking incredibly bullish, and this is something to be excited about for that next bullish sentiment and rush back into the retail stocks, because retail are not buying retail stocks as much. Nobody's really buying too many stocks right now. They're kind of in, they're kind of out, but there's not a clear direction as far as capital flowing into one sector or the other. Now, that's the key as far as that. And what is going on with hedge funds and institutions buying AMC? Look at this. Allspring Global Investments Holdings just bought 227,000 shares. Goldman Sachs just bought 46,000 shares. Goldman Sachs, another fund, just bought 318,000 shares. Another 52,000 shares purchased right there again by Goldman Sachs. So very interesting what we are seeing as far as right now. Another 53,000 shares added right here. 37,000 added right here. 14,000 right here. And 24,000 right there, a short position, which, I mean, you got to be stupid to short AMC at these prices. And pretty much everybody besides a couple stragglers are adding heavily to their AMC position. So if you want to align yourself with the smart money that is buying the stock, I think that's probably best, because there's a lot of buying compared to selling happening with AMC around the $15 price range. Okay, so as far as the chart, let's move on to that, because there is a couple things that I do want to point out, and I want to acknowledge people's fears of the worst case scenario. Let's just imagine next week is very, very red. Something happens, maybe Russia invades Ukraine, something crazy happens over the weekend that makes investors get fearful. I think your worst case scenario, even if the SPY goes down to 400 or 360, I think $10 is really your worst case scenario. But I still hold the same logic that I said on Friday, is I expect to stay around $15 per share, and $15 per share was my price target, and we're currently sitting at $15 2 pennies. So it looks like that did come true. But then again, it's very hard to know what's exactly going to happen. Now, if I were to imagine, we do see a bounce on the S&P, because we are still, we're still substantially under where we were. Let's go ahead and take off the VWAP, and we're still, let's put on the moving averages. And we're still slightly under our 200-day moving average. So what we'll likely see is a move to the 200-day moving average, or get rejected off of that. And then likely, if we do cross above, make our way back to the 100-day moving average, if not in this mid-range. And that'll give a lot of room for AMC and the other stocks that are beat into the ground to see a really nice recovery. Now, as far as the MACD is concerned, we are slightly bearish, starting to curl up because of the move that we are seeing today. But this chart is bloody overall. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys this is bullish. I think the trajectory of the sentiment heading into these smaller stocks that are beaten down is looking good, but the technicals not looking all too good. We did hit that low at $13.40 per share, so we've seen a substantial move from the bottom here today. Next levels to watch is going to be in between $17.50 and $18.50, and then $20, and then ultimately, if we pull up the Bollinger Bands, we need to cross above $20.42 to start making our way back into the mid-20s range. And I do think on the next big bounce that we see the secular rotation into these stocks like AMC that are clapped into oblivion, I think you're going to see that move into the mid to high 20s. That's my personal opinion. I am not a financial advisor. But that is going to wrap up this video. There's not too much else to actually say. Watch for developments over the weekend. If there is anything important that is going to move the markets, we will bring it to you guys here on this channel. But that is pretty much going to conclude this video. If you guys want access to all of the trades that we make in real time, if you guys need somebody to answer your questions, somebody that's been trading options for years now, check that out. That is what that is for. We can't always get to all questions in the comment sections or even on the live streams, so that's why we have that very inexpensive cost. So that's all. Get yourself some free stock with Moomoo. Get 5 free stocks, no deposit necessary. Well, no minimum deposit necessary. So worst case scenario, you get some free stocks. So that's all. Love and appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.